Hi guys, welcome to another video. Now today I'm going to be going through the exact spec that I've gone with my 2021 Model 3, although spoiler alert, with Teslas it's pretty straightforward and you're not actually given that many options to choose from. I'm also going to go through the main changes between this 2021 model and the 2020 car, which, although it's a facelift, there are actually a significant number of changes which did directly influence me getting the Model 3 over any other kind of electric car. So let's get straight into this video, guys. Let's start with the changes. Let's go with the exterior first. So visually, the chrome trim around the windows, that's basically become satin black. A lot of people didn't really like the chrome option, and de-chroming a car is particularly popular these days, and so Tesla have just done it from factory really. So it's not a gloss black, it's satin black. They've matched that with the camera housings on the side of the car. What else have they done? The sill plates where it says Model 3, so that's in a really nice, again, satin black finish rather than stainless steel finishes. The new 18-inch aero wheels that you find on this car are slightly different in terms of design compared to the previous generation car, although within 5 minutes I pulled those aero covers off and unveiled the alloys beneath, which in my opinion just look a lot sportier and just a lot nicer, and they're in a really nice kind of satin grey kind of finish. A lot of satin going about, and I like that. Those are the main visual changes on the outside. Might have missed one, but off the top of my head, that's that. Now, kind of staying within the outside, one of the big changes has been to do with the front trunk, or the frunk as the Tesla community like to call it. That's slightly smaller now, but that's in order to fit in a heat pump, which is massively more efficient when it comes to heating the car. And in these conditions right now it's 1 degree, and electric cars are generally just not very efficient in very cold conditions. When you're preheating your car kind of via the app, that would usually drain the battery quite quickly, whereas now it uses the heat pump, and particularly when you're driving along as well, it basically means you're using less battery and overall increasing the range. Suddenly gone quite foggy. What the That thought I was about to have a crash. Basically there's a car on the road like sticking out, but I didn't think I was about to have a crash, but this thought otherwise. But yeah, as I was saying, it seems like Elon's actually listened to kind of customer feedback, and the previous car didn't have an electronic boot, aka an electronic release. It was kind of manual, and it's 2021, we're all lazy these days, so people must have been outraged that that wasn't offered. So that is now on the 2021 car, whichever model you get. It also now means you can control that via the app, so you can open and close the boot remotely. You can also open it via voice command, which I won't do whilst I'm driving. So those have been some like kind of real world useful facelift changes. Internally, the screen and everything remains the same. Apparently there are some new scroll wheels. I honestly can't tell the difference. But the main change is kind of down here, this center console. So again, this was in response to customer feedback. This used to be kind of gloss piano black, similar to what I've got in my C43, and that's just, it's prone to so many scratches literally from the day you buy it. You're almost guaranteed to scratch it up. So that's been scrapped, gone back to a mixture of a nice satin finish and some probably most likely fake leather, I assume. The way this opens and closes has changed. It feels a lot sturdier, it's a bit more premium. Before it was kind of just like a kind of a fiddly panel thing, which did seem a little bit cheap and nasty. Instead it's kind of like it touch closes, which, yeah, great. Up here there used to be another kind of a compartment, so they've now filled that in and actually put two wireless charging pads for your phone. I think that's quite good. It's in a reachable position. In my C43 it's like buried really deep within, so I don't actually know if the phone's charging or not. So I quite like the changes with the center console. All Model 3s now get the glass sunroof, although it's fixed in place, doesn't open or anything like that. Right, my car. I've got the Long Range Plus car, which is at the time of recording this video, because Tesla pricing is kind of all over the place, keeps changing like every month. This Long Range Plus model is £6,500 more than the standard range. What do you actually get for that extra £6,500? Well, you get extra range, if that wasn't obvious enough. I think it's a claimed 360 miles compared to the 260 odd or something like that. You get dual motors, which means you also get four-wheel drive rather than rear-wheel drive in the UK, and especially in the conditions that we've had kind of in the last week. Very, very useful. You get the premium interior, so you've got two levels of interior packages. You've got partial premium and the main premium. The difference is that in this car you get heated front and rear seats. In the partial premium it's just the front, although I've not seen heated rear seats in many cars at all, to be fair, so that's quite cool. And again, you can control that from the Tesla app on your phone. You get an upgraded sound system. You get premium connectivity as well. So in the standard car, you get that free for a month, and that's things like Spotify, streaming, and kind of up-to-date traffic information, etc. You only get that for 30 days in the standard car. In the premium edition, you get that for 12 months. You get LED fog lamps, which honestly I've rarely ever had to use fog lamps in any car. You get increased performance, of course, so the 0 to 60 time drops by a second, so this car will do 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, which is actually a tad quicker than my C43 AMG, so it's no slow coach. And in all honesty, that's the only option that I kind of went with, because you kind of get all the basics that you need. Other options, so white is the only free paint option for the exterior, and I think white was the nicest colour anyway, so it contrasts really well with the satin black finishes, the black roof. I think you get another, I think there are 4 other paint options, and they're about £1,000 each. You only have 2 wheel options on the long range and standard range. You get the 18-inch aero wheels, which is what I've got on this, but I've pulled the aero wheels off, and then some 19-inch wheels for X amount of money. In terms of interior upgrades, this is kind of the standard leather, the black option, which is no additional cost. You can pay an additional kind of £1,000–1,500 for the white and black option, which looks really nice on day one, but I can imagine that being prone to kind of the stain you get from jeans and other various bits and pieces. It just wouldn't look as fresh and new for as long as it could. I think black's just the standard. Now, in terms of first impressions with the car, I mean, I've had it for about a week, and I've already covered a couple of 100 miles in it, and there's a lot of good stuff, and there are a few negatives. If you come from a non-electric car to an electric car, and then a Tesla in particular, it does take some time getting used to it all. Tesla is basically a tech company, it's not really a car company, so the way things are done, it's just really reminiscent of how your iPad would operate, basically. With the Model 3 in particular, having everything on there is strange, to say the least. There are certain things that I don't like. Trying to access the wipers, for example, is quite a difficult thing. Particularly, imagine if you're driving and you're in bad conditions, rather than being able to just switch them on, change the modes from the steering wheel, you've got to kind of reach down here and do it that way. And because it's a touchscreen, your first touch needs to be accurate straight away. I'm a big fan of just having some buttons that you can touch and feel, and you can operate without having to look at the screen. As a car, it's so incredibly easy to drive. In those 200 miles, I've only touched the brake pedal once, and that's because, you know, with electric cars you've got something called regenerative braking. So every time you lift off the accelerator, the motors spin in reverse, and that acts as, basically charges the batteries up, plus it acts as a kind of second brake. So, you know, it does take some time getting used to being able to feather the throttle when you don't want to slow down as though you're braking. But like I said, I've had experience with a Model S for a number of years, as my dad owns one. As a car to drive, the steering is somewhat unusually, it's quite heavy. It's in its most relaxed setting. If we have a look down here, driving, yeah, we're in comfort at the minute, and it all it's not very light like you'd expect in, let's say, the equivalent BMW 3 Series, C-Class, the Audi A4 for example. One thing that's really good, the car's it's full of sensors and cameras, and it kind of picks up pretty much everything. Picked up this cyclist right in front of us, picks up bins, it even picks up cats and dogs, I've noticed, complete with the associated graphics, which is pretty cool to see. You know, a lot of people have said, you know, they get used to not having a speedo in front of them, and instead having it in the top right here, but do you know what? Because I will switch between cars, I won't ever fully get used to having the speedo there. I wish there was just a head-up display. That couldn't have been hard to implement. So Elon, if you're listening, if you're watching, I want that in an update. Although that's probably not possible. Oh, which brings me on to another thing. So this car, I've had it a week, and I've already had an over-the-air update, which has kind of changed how some of the layout here and kind of some of the software underneath. So the very fact that, you know, you buy this car, you're constantly getting updates as you own the car. Very few other manufacturers actually bother with that. For example, my C43 is capable of over-the-air updates, but in 1.5 years that I've had it, I've not had a single one. One thing that I really like about Tesla in general as a whole, it's designed to just make your life so much easier. The amount of functionality you get in the mobile app to be able to kind of control all the doors, you can open them, close them, the front trunk, the rear trunk, the charging ports, you can preheat the car. There's just so much you can do from the app, from the comfort of your bed, if you want, that, you know, just isn't offered in other cars in this price range. My C43, for example, you know, I can basically unlock and lock the car. I can't do anything else with it. So there you have it, guys. Overall, first impressions, pretty darn good. There are some niggles and some really annoying things, which I'll get into a different video, because this is YouTube, and you know, it's all about the views. But do stay tuned for plenty more content on the Model 3, a lot more in-depth analysis of certain features, because yeah, with any kind of Tesla, there's a lot to go through and a lot to analyze, because like I said, they're just so different to kind of road cars as we've known them for the last several decades. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.